Welcome to Fantasy Fanline.
What is up, everybody? We're back. We are Fantasy Fanline, and we are getting oh so close, baby. I'm Sanchi Value here with my right-hand man, Sinker. Sinker, how you feeling, man? We're getting there.
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. 8 days to the kickoff, man. Draft season. We're underway. Loving it, man. A lot of big news in the NFL today. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah, it was cut day. A lot of surprises going on. We had the Jonathan Taylor news. If you guys haven't heard, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks on the PUP list. I'm sure we'll discuss that a little later. As always, we are a call-in show, so I'll bring that number up. We have some of our watchers and listeners shouting us out already. I love to see it. P. Muggs and Nate Shot. Without further ado, I want to bring on today's guest, an old friend of the show and one of our favorites. He's a writer for the Fantasy Footballers and one of the best in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Larson. Aaron, what's up, man? It's good to have you back. It's good to see you. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Good to be back. Like you said, this is the heart of it. I got we talked a little bit ahead of time. I got 3 drafts this week. You guys got drafts going on. I think everybody does. So exciting time.
It's definitely great to have you back on, man. We have Jonathan. I'm back, fellas. Reliable expertise. That's without further ado. Let's talk some football. This one came in. It's pretty simple. How do I make the playoffs? And to answer this question is you got to win. You got to win your games. Not to be a smart ass, but I'll kick this off. It's it's common knowledge you have to win your games, but what do they say? You can win your you can't win your league at the draft, but you can certainly lose it. Yes, that's something like that. So that's number one. You have to go in and kill that draft, but you're not going to win the league at the draft. It all comes down to your matchups. It all comes down to who you're swapping in and out, and in any given week, you have to make the right choices. The waiver wire is huge. You have to spend your fab right, or strategically place. If you're like old school and you have the old school waiver system, you have to strategically place when you want to use that number one waiver. But I recommend switching to fab. That's a whole other discussion. This one's an easy one. Anything you want to add to this, or is it just win, baby?
I'll just add real quick, and this is more of a discussion for a few weeks from now, but keep going, because you see every year teams start 0-3, 0-4, 1-5. And you play the waivers, you make a few moves, and you get hot, and you can make the playoffs. So you don't just pack it in after week 6 if you get a rough start.
That's a great point, man. I've seen a lot of teams start off 0-5 and make playoff runs and even win championships just because they never gave up. They made the right trades. They made the right moves. Sinker, anything you want to add to this, or we could keep it pushing?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important to not overreact. There's going to be a lot of things that happen week 1, 2, and 3. And that's, you're just getting into the season there. Don't overreact if, a stud that you drafted's not performing yet, or vice versa. If there's a guy out there that had a one game, don't spend all your fab on that. Just relax, let the season come to you. You'll be all right.
Cool. And that's how it's done. Very simple. I expect you all to make the playoffs this year. No pressure.
As long as you listen to the show, man, right? You should get in.
Are you more prone to taking a mobile quarterback in a 4-point passing TD leagues? It's an interesting question. I see it discussed a lot. Sinker, how do you feel? How do you feel about this question?
To me, it doesn't change anything. I'm the mobile quarterbacks are the top of my list, so I'm looking at them even in a 6-point passing touchdown. Still, the upside that you get from rushing quarterbacks, they're still there. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, rushing QBs are fantasy gold, and there's no denying that. Aaron, how do you feel about this question?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. So I had to think about it because my default is always 4 point. Most leagues I'm in are 4 point. But if I am in a 6-point, it kind of comes down to a tiebreaker. If I'm in that, and not at the top, those top 6 guys are pretty locked in no matter what. But then once you get down to the next couple of tiers, like if it's a, maybe Daniel Jones takes a knock maybe a little bit compared to, I wish I had an example offhand here, but somebody that's not going to run the ball, as maybe a Geno Smith, So it's sort of a tiebreaker in the middle tiers.
For sure. And the way I see it it's just like making the playoffs. I want the quarterback who's going to put up the most points. Sometimes you don't have to think too much about it. Sometimes we overthink everything. It's as simple as that. And the rushing quarterbacks they'll offer the safer floor, and they're going to run when they're struggling to toss the rock. But the injury risk probably a little more when they're running. But you just don't want to think too much about it. If you think Burrow's going to score more points than Fields, go and take Burrow. If you think Fields is going to score more points than Burrow, go and take Fields. I'm not putting too much stock into it, but we do know that you are at an advantage most of the time with a quarterback who could get it done with his legs. But at the end of the day, you got to get your guys, and we're pushing. Speaking, we're getting to week 1, so we're talking some streams here. So, what tight ends are you streaming week one if you punted on the position? What defenses are you streaming week 1? Aaron, I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah, so if we're talking purely from a streaming, like I'm going to play this 1 week at a time kind of thing, there's 2 guys that jump out. Top of the list for me is Gerald Everett for the Chargers. I think it's going to be such a pass-happy offense to begin with. And they play Miami, who was not very good against tight ends last year. Jalen Ramsey's not going to be there. Not that would make a huge difference necessarily either way, but I like Everett all around this year as a streamer, but he's got a good week 1 matchup too. That could be an absolute shootout against Miami in week 1.
For sure. You took my guy, man. I had it right here. It's a 50.5 over under, which is the highest over under, only behind the Chiefs and Lions that week, the first game. The chemistry's already there with Gerald Everett. Everyone's expecting him to. I'm hearing he's going off this year. We shall see. New OC, but I think that game's going to be points galore, and I think he's a great last round pick, or he's going to be on your waivers to stream. I think Everett's awesome.
He's a guy that if you take week 1, I mean, you can probably hang on to him all year long, until something happens. I really do like him as a late round period,
Yeah, I'm with you there. If you punt tight end, he's one of my favorites at the end, just because the offense is so good, the chemistry's there, and that offense is going to score a lot of points. Sinker, you have anyone else, or we're all liking Everett?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Everett call there. I also think another name, he's a rookie, but Sam Laporta. I think Thursday Night Football kicked the NFL off. I could see him scoring a touchdown. If you're streaming, right, you're just looking for that touchdown. That's, you're looking for the 30 yards and the touchdown. We spoke a little bit pre-show. I'm just a little worried about the Chiefs defense this year without Chris Jones and getting pressure on. So that's a high over-under as well. So that's a guy that I'm looking for as well in the tight end slot if you're streaming.
And that's coming from a Chiefs fan. He's picking someone against his squad. And I'll give you a second one. I'm going to pick someone against my squad. A sneaky one. Jake Ferguson, man. Jake Ferguson on the Dallas Cowboys. Not too much, but I mean, if you're a real diehard, you're hearing the little buzz about him, but not too much buzz going on for casual leagues here. And Dak loves his tight ends, and being a Giants fan, it kills me to say they kill us. They kill us throwing to the tight ends. So I think he's a great stream if you punt tight end. Everett, Ferguson, Sam Laporta, you're streaming. You're not expecting Kelsey numbers. You're hoping for that touchdown, but I think all 3 of those guys are great options for you week 1. As far as defenses, I was going to say the Saints. I like how they start off, but I think they're going to, mostly going to be drafted. So if I'm taking a defense outside of the top 12, it's the Washington Commanders for me. And the sole reason why is they're a good defense, and they're going up against a dumpster fire Cardinals team. And that's really going to be, I think that's going to be the defensive streaming check mark this year. It's a team who play the Cardinals on waivers. That's who I'm throwing $3 a fab on, and that's who I'm going to stream. They're definitely my choice. I'm going to look for them in every draft I'm in the last round, and hopefully, get a few pick sixes against that horrible Cardinals team without Kyler Murray. Are there any defenses you like besides the Commanders, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. Washington was on my list for every reason you just said. Another one, though, that might be in week one, even better matchup is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're taking on the Colts, who aren't going to have Taylor and are going to be, week one, Anthony Richardson. Who knows what he's going to be throwing? He'll probably run all over him a bit, but he could throw, 2-3 picks in that game.
For sure.
Yeah, in Jacksonville
I
last
think,
year, to end the season, they were kind of hot as far as a fantasy point perspective from a defense. So I like that take a lot.
Yeah, defense was definitely looking good. Like early in the year, I love to stream against rookie quarterbacks because they'll get it together eventually, but they usually just don't jump out and start balling right away. So
and I'm
that's
a
what I'm
big
looking
Anthony
for.
Richardson guy. I love Richardson, but I don't know if he's going to get out the gates hot, especially with now that we know Taylor's not there. Be a lot of pressure on him.
A lot of growing pains for sure. He's going to run a lot. That we know that. Like his rushing yards might just what do they think they shot out, like 300 yards? No, Taylor's huge, man. We can talk about that. We got some more people asking questions here. Nick Chubb or Bijan in the first round? Sinker knows my answer. As much as I love Bijan, the talent in Robinson, I'm going Nick Chubb. He's my guy. He's my guy. I'm taking Nick Chubb. Any of you guys taking Bijan over Chubb? I know that's like the norm, but
I'm with you on that. I would take Chubb. So you can take this guy that could probably do it, or this guy that consistently does it and now doesn't have Kareem Hunt anymore. Brown's offense should be better, and he should be the focal point of it. So I think Bijan's going to be fine, but give me Chubb.
Yeah, I agree. I think Nick Chubb is the safer pick there. I mean, Bijan could be a stud, but you know what you're getting out of Chubb. I agree with you. The offense is going to get better, and he might get a little bit more pass work this year. So
it's like that Family Guy clip, right? Like
Exactly.
it could even be a boat.
Yeah,
it could even be Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, take Chubb safe in the first, and then in the second, maybe take someone else where you're looking for higher upside,
maybe reach for Gibbs. If that's how you're feeling, you want to go RB, and you still want a rookie high upside pick. Get the guy who can get it done, and then
Tony Pollard, man.
Yeah, Tony Pollard.
Love Pollard.
We're all feeling Pollard this year in Dallas. Sinker loves him. One of my guys. P Muggs. This one's interesting. Rank Tank Bigsby, Tyler Algier, and Jaylen Warren. Throwing us some good ones.
I like all three of those guys.
I think they're all worth a draft pick later in rounds. I really like Warren. Like he was going in the end of last year, and he looked great in preseason. And I know Najee's the guy. I mean, all these guys are behind running backs getting drafted high. Algier had 1,000 yards rushing last year. Obviously, no Bijan. Bigsby's getting hype, probably the most hyped out of all three of these guys right now. I see the Tank Bigsby hype everywhere. Top of my head, I'm gonna go Warren, Algier, and Bigsby because I'm still on the ETN train. While everyone's hyping up Tank, I still think it's ETN. But Algier, he's still going to be involved on that rush heavy team, and I think Warren's going to. Warren, Algier, Bigsby. How you feeling, Aaron? How you ranking them?
I'm actually going to put Bigsby first here, and really my tiebreaker is I think this is going to be the best of those three offenses. That's and there's a chance that he does get that goal line role. Like that's a big offseason narrative that we've heard how bad ETN was in those situations, and I think that's a little overblown. But I could still see Bigsby getting that job, so I put him first, and then I put Warren second, just slightly ahead. Tiebreaker there is he'll be a pass catcher. I'm not sure Algier's catching a lot of passes.
And I saw Sinker celebrating when you said Tank, so I'm assuming that's his number one on his ranking.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go Tank, Warren, Algier. Same reasons, I love Tank Bigsby, man, and I think ETN is great. I think Bigsby is gonna have a bigger role than a lot of people realize. And if anything happens to ETN, I do think Bigsby could be a league winner. That offense is going to be great. I mean, you could say that with all three of these guys, though, right? I think these are all the three, biggest hyped handcuffs right now. But Jalen Warren's definitely going to probably have a role. Algier, I'm not sure. It's straight, rusher, but we'll see. So, yeah, Bigsby, Warren, Algier for me.
And they're all kind of like we said. They're not. You can call them handcuffs, but I like the term that started going around that flex with benefits. Like you'll get something out of them, and then if the guy in front of them goes down, then you got a league winner right there.
100%, yeah, and those are the guys you want to target, right? You'll get, especially if you go like a 0 RB build or something. Like these guys will give you probably a something week to week. They're not just sitting on your bench. So yeah.
They're getting carries. All three of them are definitely getting work, and that's a great question, P-Mugs. And like they're late round picks for a reason. So we could rank them all you want. At the end of the day, you just gotta go with who you feel most comfortable with. I think all three are really solid draft choices at the end of drafts. But thanks for the great question. We got Albert. That's our guy. What's up, Albert? How you feeling, man? Thanks for joining us again. It's always good to see you, bud. Nate shot with the question. 10th pick in a 12-man league. What are you taking first pick? I pick 10. RB? I don't think RBs are as deep this year. Am I wrong? We have to see how your draft board falls, Nate. If Cooper Kupp falls to the 10th pick, I'm taking Cooper Kupp every time. Nick Chubb, Barkley at 10. If like Cooper Kupp or Ty Hill fall to 10, though, you're taking those guys. But really all comes down to your draft. If like the big receivers are gone, guys I like at 10 are definitely Barkley and Chubb, and then pairing either Henry with them or another receiver, like a big time receiver on the way back. Do you guys feel similar, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, you got to kind of let the draft fall to you a little bit. I don't like to go in with a set. I have to get this position at this round, this position at this round. Do your research on what the ADP is, especially if you know what platform you're on, and see, what 3, 4, 5 guys might be there, and kind of rank that little cluster and go from there. Is how I would look at it.
Yeah, for sure. You never really want to go in with a set strategy because anything can happen when, there's, especially money involved and like all the mocks are out the window and like this is your actual draft. Like this is your team. Anything could happen. And what do they say? Like, be like water. That's how you have to go in. Sinker, who you liking around that range?
Yeah, I mean, I like the points you guys make. You have to kind of see what value falls to you at 10, right? And also kind of see how the draft's going. If it's everyone's snagging all the wide receivers and you want to get an advantage at the RB position, yeah, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer there. I do think there's a tier drop-off, though, in like the first tier of running backs, though. So if you want a running back, I think that's the time to do it. You might be able to get someone in the second round as well, but I think 3 and 4, there's a pretty big tier drop-off on getting like a guaranteed stud. So I like the wide receivers a little better in 2, 3 in that turn there. So yeah, I don't hate take a Chubb or someone like that. Saquon could still be there.
Yeah, because most of the time, there's going to be a good receiver coming back if you still want one. I've seen Lamb fall, Amon-Ra, like Tay Adams. Like these are guys that come back around. Got Len.
I was going to say on the other side of it too, like coming back around on that turn, like you could get Pollard right there on the turn in the second round.
Yeah, Cooper take I think it's really just watching how the draft goes and then, having, do your research and see who you rank higher out of the wide receiver, the running back, and know, this guy could come back to you. So
look ahead and see what you got.
Sanch, I'm going to go ahead and take this call.
All right. You got a caller.
Caller, thanks for calling. You're on Fanline. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Jonathan, calling from New Jersey.
Oh, what's up, Jonathan? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's good, Sanchi? How's it going, brother? Hey, guys. First of all, shout outs. Grateful I found you guys' channel, and I'm learning a lot and helping me out with all the tough decisions.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you calling in and watching.
Yeah, thanks for the love, man. Anything we can help you with? You got some draft questions?
Yeah, I joined the league late, and I have as a 14-man league, so I'm doing my draft. I know I want to go hero running back, my first initial strategy, but in some of the mock drafts, I find myself end up going wide receiver heavy, but I do want one of those top 7 quarterbacks. What would be considered? This is a 2-part question. One, any tips on a 14-man league with that hero running back strategy? And then on top of that, after that, if I'm pushed to go wide receiver heavy for the upside and whatever the draft gives me, what's considered a good RB1 in the 5th round?
What draft position are you?
I'm 8th.
8th.
I don't know if you're getting a good RB1 in the 5th, but you could go 0 RB and swing for the fences. This kind of brings us back to the other question about, like, you can't really go in with the strategy, and I'm not like changing my strat too much just because the extra 2 teams, like the 12 team moving to the 14. But some guys I like in the 5th. I think Kamara is a great pick in the 5th round if you want to, like, kind of like go heavy on your receiver and get a big quarterback, and then hopefully get it done. Maybe go 2-1. That's a great scenario. Then you get Alvin Kamara back. Yeah, but I'm definitely not going in with a set strategy. You just have to kind of see how the board falls and how you're feeling. If you think this guy's going to ball out, by all means, grab that guy. I'll pass it to Sinker, and I'm gonna do a little more research for you and give you some other running backs who I like around that range. It's a great question, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think if you're wanting to go with the hero RB, I think taking one at the 8th spot is probably, what's best for you. So, 14-man league, you're probably going to, I don't know, it's when it gets back to you, you're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe Pollard if he gets there. If not, I don't know, you're going to have to reach for Gibbs or something. 5th round, though, 14-man league. I mean, if there's still people hanging around like Dameon Pierce, Dobbins,
Pierce
Madison,
and Dobbins, they should be gone.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's getting chalky there.
James Conner, it's not sexy, but
I would. Rashad White maybe might still be there, but again, those are not clear-cut guys. We don't know what they have
they're
yet.
They're not RB1s.
Right.
Aaron, any advice about like his draft strategy or running backs you'd be targeting?
Kind of echo that. So if you want to say hero RB or anchor RB, like, you're going to need one of those first 2 for sure. I would, like Sinker kind of said, probably with that first pick. If you're waiting till the 5th, and especially in a 14, that's going to be closer to that 0 RB strategy. And I'm seeing the same names you guys are. The 3 that pop out, 4-ish that pop out to me, Alexander Madison, Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins. I like all those guys as possible. Like RB1s if I'm waiting that long. Dameon Pierce is there too. But I would say too, if you go that way, take 3 receivers and one of those top quarterbacks in your top 4 picks. You're going to have to really shoot your shots on some extra running backs at the end of that draft to kind of get those guys we talked about before, your Jalen Warrens, your Tank Bigby's. Just have multiples of those guys at the end of the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you, guys.
Jonathan, that was a great question, man. Thanks for calling in, bro. We wish you luck. Stick with us all year. Sit starts. Let us know how your draft went, and we'll be here till the end, bud.
No, definitely. I'm on now. I'm driving in passenger seat and just picking out brains, man. Thank you for the content.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, man. Have a good one. Great.
Yeah,
just take care, guys.
Just to touch on his QB, question as well. So, 14-man league. What are you guys doing there? Are you trying to get one early? Are you trying to sit on it? Are you trying to wait? I know we've talked multiple times, Sanchi, about trying to get like one of those 1B quarterbacks.
That fifth round quarterback.
Yeah.
Definitely not too early. I'm not the one to grab a quarterback in the 3rd round unless I've had a few beers and I'm feeling that player a little, extra that night. But, I think that 5th round is a sweet spot. Like for some reason, like Fields, Lawrence, they're all chilling there. I think that's the perfect time to grab a QB. But I won't be mad at you if you want to get one of the top dogs in a 14-man league and want to build around that.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Well, thanks for the call again, man. We have another big question here. This one's a doozy. Who are some wide receivers that are being drafted outside of the top 10 that have the highest upside to be drafted in the first round next year? Aaron, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, two guys jumped off the list to me. I think one's a little obvious and maybe one a little bit not as much. So I think the obvious one that people are really just falling in love with this year is Chris Olave. Awesome rookie season. He's pretty borderline in that top 10 right now. And, he's just following that Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson plan, great rookie season, and everyone's expecting him to take that next big step this year. So I think that's a pretty safe case there. But the other one, the guy that I've been all over this year and hasn't had a ton of buzz, is DK Metcalf. I think he bounces back in a big way this year. The guy's a stud and had just the most terrible touchdown luck last year. So, I can easily see him getting 10, 11, 12, 13 touchdowns this year and being boosted right back into that round one conversation next season.
Aaron, I'm with you, man. I'm tired of the DK Metcalf slander. I've been saying it for weeks now. Like, the guy, you can't teach that, man. He's just a freak, and he did have horrible luck.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah, he did have horrible luck with those TDs last year, and I can see some positive regression coming. That's a good one. Before I pass it to Sinker, mine's kind of obvious. If you stuck around with us for the last few weeks, mine's Devontae Smith. As a Giants fan, it kind of kills me to say, but the dude's a baller. Devontae Smith is a damn baller. And I saw today, even A.J. Brown said he's a wide receiver one when they were because Darius Slay, he said that one day Smith would be the best wide receiver in the NFL. And A.J. Brown's stop comparing us. That's another wide receiver one. Just let us work together. And although it's hard for me to agree with that, best receiver in the NFL, I think he's close. I think he's one of the best. I kind of think he already is. Devontae Smith, I'm higher on him than most, and I guess I'm dying on that hill.
He's just in that A.J. Brown shadow, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Big shadow.
It's a big shadow, but
huge shadow.
They say ball don't lie. We'll see what happens. Olave is a great one. I also had him written down here. Sinker, you have anyone on top of that?
Yeah, man, I'll go a little deeper in the draft. I'm going to call out my boy Christian Watson. I think, Christian Watson could be a guy this year. He's got all the right tools. He was my guy on last episode. I went deep into the numbers on him. Target share is going to be there. He's the alpha on his team. If Jordan Love puts it together, you could definitely see him. He's a guy that profiles late that could be, first round guy next year. And another guy that's being drafted right by him, I like Drake London a lot. He's got the player profile where, he's a guy next year. If he's in the top 10, I don't think any of us would be shocked. He's, going to get the target share. We'll just see how that offense goes.
I like London too. And if you go and look at Desmond Ridder highlights from last year, let me know how many London plays you see. It's 90-something% of that whole highlight reel. I know Atlanta's going to run a lot, but, it's the NFL. You have to throw the rock, and Drake London is the guy over there. There's
I had him jotted down as well.
Yeah, there's some great selections and guys I'm willing to draft everywhere. So if you're listening, write those guys' names down. Those are some big ones. We got Tony Pollard going to be DeMarco Murray part 2. Oh boy. Is that good or bad?
That's what I was wondering in my head. I can't tell which way we're going on this.
That's good, man. That's good. DeMarco Murray was a stud.
He was a stud on the Cowboys. All right. You think? Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna get that DeMarco Murray workload.
I mean, DeMarco Murray was getting the ball literally 35 times a game.
That was Derrick Henry, and then.
Yeah, I don't think Tony Pollard's getting that much.
I had him that one year, and he was just he'd run the ball 28 times, and they'd throw him the ball 6 times. It was just literally the DeMarco Murray show. So I don't know. I mean, I I don't know. I don't think Pollard's going to get that volume because you still have CeeDee Lamb and, you got Brandon Cooks there. And I think it's going to be, you're going to see more passing this year. But, man, I do love Tony Pollard.
I'll just look it up real quick. DeMarco Murray, 392 carries in 2014.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was a league winner for me, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that number for Pollard's touches. Just have a hint, have a hunch, But
wait, it gets better. He took 392 attempts. He also had 64 targets.
Yeah, the catching ability was crazy.
That's over 450 opportunities he had.
Yeah,
I don't think Pollard's going to get quite that. Yeah.
No, but we all agree that Pollard has every opportunity to ball out. Yeah, we're all high on him. It's a good one. You can only have one. I'm assuming that's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Olave, Calvin Ridley, and Garrett Wilson. Only have one. I know. Olave and Ridley, I dig, but I'm not taking them over those other two guys. This really comes down to Amon-Ra or Wilson for me. And damn, that's hard. I think I have those guys ranked back to back, as like most people do, but like that's like such a tough one. It really all depends how you're feeling with Rodgers and like how much he's gonna pepper Wilson. But we've seen Amon-Ra get it done. We saw I know Garrett Wilson's getting hyped. I'm going Amon-Ra here if I could only have one. Sinker, what about you?
Probably lean Garrett Wilson, man. I don't know if it's just the preseason that's got to me and watching Hard Knocks every day or, every Tuesday after this episode or what, but I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to hyper target Wilson, especially in the red zone. I don't know. That's just my way to go.
For sure. And you can't go wrong. You flip a coin. Aaron, who's your guy?
Yeah, it's close, but I go with Amon-Ra too. I think it's just, kind of the known versus the unknown again. We talked about earlier. And I think it's a kind of a draft strategy or philosophy, maybe is a better word. Like drafting that early, do you want to go with the safe option or the upside option? And I think Amon-Ra is a little bit safer that early. I'd like to get a little bit more safety, shoot for my upside later.
It's good stuff. I agree with you there. Josh Green. Lawrence is the best option, 14-man league. If you go wide receiver heavy, Lawrence is one of the best options, period, my guy. I love Trevor Lawrence this year. And you go back and watch our last week's episode, and you'll hear why. And he's also saying Connor and Miles Sanders are the best RBs for him. Yeah, they're not sexy, but like if you go 0 RB and you load up on receiver and your quarterback early, I mean, those are guys you're going to have to take. You're going to start your lineup every week and look at your RB slot like, oh, man, what did I do to myself? But, maybe you could draft the right receivers to get it done. Like, plenty of people have gone 0 RB and won. But it's not my strategy, but I know it's been done. This JC character is sus. Nah, that's my guy. He's not sus.
Good shout out, Kyle.
You're sus, Kyle.
Kyle, what happened to Tottenham today?
JC raw hater.
Hey man, I can't talk him up on here and then hit your inbox later with a trade. So
P Mugs again, Khalil Herbert or Antonio Gibson. For me, it's Khalil Herbert. I like the way he's trending. I like what I saw from him last year. I like the way that whole offense is trending. I like the price you're paying to get him. I know Gibson, pass catching ability, and I'm leaning Herbert. Aaron, who do you like better out of these two?
Herbert's catching him, but I'm ride or die Gibson, and I'm gonna die on that hill. So
yeah, I'm like that too with players. Like if you that's perfectly fine. Like you could take a shot on either one of these, but they're pretty much not free, but they're cheap. It's like they're not costing you a top 4 round pick.
Oh, so I'm just looking at the ADP I'm using here, and Herbert is just ahead, 3 running backs ahead right now in the most recent ADP I got here.
Okay, and I feel like Herbert shot up a little bit in the last few weeks for sure. Absolutely. A lot of hype. Sinker, who's your guy of these two? Get the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
it's tough, man. I'm also, an Antonio Gibson guy though. Just the catching ability with, the enemy coming over there. A lot of things could change. So probably Gibson, but yeah, I mean, both of those guys are neck and neck in my rankings. If Herbert does get the role and he's, the workhorse there, he could excel, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think he can hold up either. So Gibson, his role, the pass catching ability, and with Howell there, I just think the dump offs are going to be there.
And with McKissick gone, there's just
Exactly.
more targets there. I'm really curious to see just this Washington offense in general, because I don't think the enemy's showing us half of the playbook yet,
No. And that's, as a Chiefs fan, I mean, that's what you get. They're not going to show anything. They keep it very like high level stuff, and then when the season kicks off, it starts to get going. And it's even a ramp up too until the playoffs, but we'll see how Washington does it.
Yeah, good stuff. Khalil Herbert for me, Gibson for these two gentlemen. But as I said, go with how you're feeling. It's a later round pick. You have our advice. At the end of the day, it's your team. You're making that call. Best of luck. This one I'm gonna push towards the Packers fan in the chat. AJ Dillon disappointed a lot of us last season. Is he worth a pick this year? This is going right to the Packers fan. Aaron, is he worth a pick?
So I say, I don't want to hedge too much here because part of it depends on, he's going so late, it depends on how you're building that front half of the team. But if you're in that range where he's going, I think he's totally worth taking a shot on. He disappointed last year on what his expectations were because he was going, I think, 4th round. If he climbed to the 3rd round last year, like he had a lot of steam in draft
Hype
season
was crazy
and didn't live up anywhere near that. But if Aaron Rodgers can run if Jordan Love can run a serviceable offense, which is yet to be determined, but if he can do that, it's still probably going to be leaning a lot on the run. And he's another one of these guys, kind of we talked about earlier, where he's going to have a role. We know that much. And if Jones does go down for any period of time, you've got an RB1 right there. So at his draft cost, it doesn't scare me doesn't scare me this year. Last year it was scary. This year it's a comfortable range that he's in.
That's going to take a lot of getting used to, right? Rodgers being gone.
Yeah. It's only been 17 years or whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah, and Jonathan, if you're still listening, I agree with you, man. I had A.J. Dillon last year, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. It sucked. But this year, price is cheaper. And, Jonathan, if you decide to go wide receiver heavy, get your quarterback, is one of the guys you might want to circle on your list to draft a little bit later on. Sinker, how do you feel about Dillon?
Yeah, I mean, where he's going in ADP, I think is a fine pick. And I've been preaching this whole season. I think Jordan Love is going to be better than what the public thinks. I'm a huge Christian Watson guy. But if those are wrong and the Packers offense isn't clicking, I can see a world where they're just hammering the ball. And if that's the case, Dillon he's definitely going to get work right away. And if injury were to happen, he could definitely become a league winner. So I know that was the situation last year, but there is a world out there where, the Packers offense isn't clicking and they just revert back to running the ball. So is he worth a pick? Absolutely at his ADP. I mean, you're not, and like you guys said, just echoing you're not getting him super high like he was last year. He's kind of like, what's his name from the Bills? Drawing a blank. Gabe Davis. He's like Gabe Davis. You're not drafting him super early. You're getting him late, so it's like he's worth the risk now.
Post-hype sleeper kind of deal. Yep. There it is. A lot of love for JC, man. JC has great takes, always supporting his players with stats, great perspectives, and his gut. So he definitely brings value to the table.
Hey, man, glad to be at the table.
That's love. That's love. While we're still on the Packers, who's the Packers wide receiver to own not named Christian Watson? And Aaron, you're the guest. You're the Packers fan. I'll give it to you.
All right. So don't take this all the wrong way because when you brought up earlier saying that Watson could be a 1st-round receiver next year, I totally agree. things go his way and he repeats what he did in that stretch last year over a season, yeah, he better be in the first round. But one of my bold takes this year is that Romeo Doubs is going to actually outscore Watson. PPR, I could see him getting, the lion's share of the targets, maybe similar amount of touchdowns, maybe a little less yardage, but and don't get me wrong, I'm not drafting Doubs over Watson, but I'm passing over Watson a lot and taking Doubs later in the season. I'm a big fan of him. He's had another great preseason that seems to be locked in with Love. So he's a big late round target for me.
Yeah, Love seems to like him a lot, especially in the red zone. And you go back to last year, he had like 3 touchdowns in his first 8 games as a rook. It's not too bad for a rook. Then he got hurt right as he was catching steam. He was never the same. The targets should be there. That
was a weird thing too, because we rarely saw Watson and Doubs healthy at the same time. They kind of like went back and forth. Watson started off slow, and then Doubs got hurt, and Watson picked up, and it was just kind of back and forth. So
yeah, and I understand the hype for Reed. The 50th overall draft capital. He's a hell of a player, but I think I prefer Romeo Doubs too.
It's such a mysterious offense too. They're all so young.
Yeah, like they did it right. They kind of did their rebuild right. Like if they're all like they have time to like grow together and get this chemistry together, and like I think Green Bay is going to shock a lot of people. If it's not this year, moving forward in the next few, I think that's a great team to watch, and I think they're going to do good things. Sinker, who's your? I know you love Christian Watson, so it's a hard question for you. But if you had to pick another one,
I mean, I think Doubs is the easy answer here, right? I mean, he's got a year under his belt. I think he's the easy guy to go to. I like picking him late as well. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think I'm a little biased as a Chiefs fan, but everyone in the media was talking about when we lost Smith and we went to Mahomes. And Mahomes is an outlier, obviously, and we've seen a little bit of love, but everyone was talking the Chiefs are going to win. They're going to go 500, win 8 games, and Mahomes came out and just blew everyone away. So
never know until they play, right?
Exactly. Don't be shocked if Jordan Love is better than what Vegas or what the media is saying.
For sure. And I just want to ask Aaron this: if for some reason you can't get Watson, you can't get Doubs, would you take a late round shot on Jordan Reed, or would you pass for someone else?
I would take it, but is he getting drafted? Like, that's the thing. So he's a guy that I feel like is keep my eye on the waiver wire as the season goes on, and maybe it is week 1 and all of a sudden, holy crap, he just got targeted 8 times and I'm going to dump the fab on him. But, late round, last round pick, yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's going to be a little bit before he gets really going. I think he's going to finish the season real strong, and he's going to be involved because those are the 3 guys. The 3 receiver sets are going to be Watson, Doubs, and Reed.
Yeah, for sure. I know they drafted someone else, but there's like nothing really going with him, right? Those are the 3 guys.
I'm a big Samori Torre fan too, but he didn't do much.
We'll try to keep this a little more casual. If you're in a deep dynasty league, though, search that up. All right, speaking of rookie wide receivers, who will finish as the best rookie wide receiver this year? It's a 2-part question, but we're just going to go with rookie receivers for now. Sinker, who's your guy?
Yeah, man, I think the guy that has the biggest opportunity is Zay Flowers. I think the Ravens take a big step forward in the offense. I think Lamar stays healthy all year. He's paid now. You don't have anything going on with that. I love the player profile for Zay Flowers. I think he is the best wide receiver on that team outside. Odell's getting old. Bateman can't stay healthy. Obviously, Mark Andrews is the one, right? So he's going to get the targets. But outside of that, dude, Zay is great, man. His routes are awesome. He's looked super good in preseason. I think he has the best path to get there. Will he have the best career out of all of them? I don't think so, but I think this year he's probably your best bet. Oh, sorry, yeah. We're talking running backs, huh? Did I
receiver okay. First. 2-part question. Question. You're good.
I just read that.
Zay Flowers, he's number 2 on my list. I love me some Zay Flowers. It was hard for me not to pick him, but I just can't pass on Jordan Addison, man. I feel like he's like the one who's going to be getting the rock often out of all these rookie receivers. They took him 23rd overall, the Vikings did. He has an instant role on a high passing volume offense. And Jefferson, we know he's the best. He's going to see all that top coverage and double teams often. They can't throw to Justin Jefferson every time as much as they want to. I just think, he's going to Addison taking that Thielen role. And, like, when I mean Thielen, like that old school Thielen role, like, I just think that's money this year. And, like, if we're talking the redraft this year only, my bet's on Jordan Addison to finish as the best rookie, but it's hard for me not to pick Zay Flowers, which is sinker, because I love that guy too. Aaron, you agree with any of these? Or you have your own guy?
Well, I agree with pretty much both of them. So what I have in my notes is that it's probably Addison. That's the safest one, high draft pick, perfect role set up for him. But I love Zay Flowers, and he could be the one. The opportunity is there for him with aging, injured Odell Beckham, and Bateman can't get healthy. So I agree with both you guys a lot. I'm just going to quick throw out. He probably won't be the best, but some other rookie that I really like is Jonathan Mingo in Carolina. I think there's going to be an opportunity there for him. Those guys, him and Bryce Young coming in the league together at the same time. Shark's already hurt. Thielen is dust. I think there's a big opportunity for him there.
Yeah, that's a great one. Like, later in drafts, like, you want to throw these dart throws at these rookie receivers because a lot of them hit.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but like
he's in that same range as Reed, except for Mingo could legitimately be the number one in that offense.
When Reed will probably never be, unless never say never, but it looks a lot better on paper that Jonathan Mingo is going to get way more love than Jordan Reed. As far as running backs, you wanna continue, Aaron? You wanna
sure.
Excluding Bijan and Gibbs, that is.
Yeah,
that'd
of course.
Be way too easy.
Two guys came up here, and we talked about Tank Bigsby already, so I like him. I throw his name in the ring. But the other one that I love this year, he was actually in our footballers writer series. He was the guy I picked for my guy, and then he hurt his shoulder in the preseason. That's Devon Achane, but he's back at practice today already. And I know everybody all of a sudden thinks that Jeff Wilson is all of a sudden this. Jonathan Taylor didn't come there, so now Jeff Wilson to the moon. We've seen Jeff Wilson before. We've seen Raheem Mostert before. We know who these guys are. Neither of them has ever taken over a backfield. I think it's right there for Achane in this this track meet of a team that Miami has with all the speed to just carve out a role and have some huge plays. So I'm taking the Achane. I'm buying the dip on him.
I'm with you there. As soon as you saw Taylor wasn't getting traded to Miami, I love Achane later. I think that's definitely worth. He's a home run hitting guy. The offense should be amazing. Obviously pending Tua, but on paper that offense should be amazing. But they didn't add Taylor. I'm not sold on Wilson, or they still have Ahmed.
Mostert, yeah. Oh, Ahmed, yeah. Ahmed,
yeah.
Yep.
They cut Gaskin today. Yeah, today was cut day. So we can't sit here and talk about all the cuts, but you should definitely go see if you're in like a deeper dynasty. Redraft won't affect you that much. For the dynasty players, go see who was cut. Go check your team's official rosters. Some interesting stuff. A few shockers for sure. Sky Moore, Rashad Bateman. Sky Moore for me. Just better offense. Patrick Mahomes. I'm out on Bateman. I know some people are still in. I'm not drafting him.
Yeah, I like Sky Moore there.
I'm hanging on to the threat of Bateman. He needs to get healthy, but with the Baltimore offense, we don't know who's going to be the number one. I don't think there is going to be a number one in Kansas City that's not named Travis Kelce. So I'd go with the Bateman.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that Kansas City take. I think, Sky Moore is going to have value, but it's not going to be a week-to-week type thing. He's a better DFS play. And it just depends on matchups and stuff like that. But there is a route for Bateman. Just like I said earlier with the other Ravens wide receivers, where he could be the guy there. So I don't know. I like both of them late, but Sky is slotted into that slot. We're always going to take the Juju role, and I'm buying into that.
I'm just taking the guy with Pat Mahomes. That makes it easier for me. But I could definitely see the Bateman argument there too, because guy was super hyped and he's still so young. Like, we don't know. What it took Corey Davis how many years to finally get going back in the day? Like we don't know.
Corey
Bateman,
Davis, man.
no solo.
Devontae Parker.
Devontae Parker. Yeah,
Parker.
there's some late bloomers. You never know. And
Bateman just can't. Yeah, he just can't stay healthy though. But when he is on the field, he looks great, right?
he could ball.
So, I saw him running routes today too.
This is I knew we'd be talking about JT. This is the question of the night here. Was a good draft pick for JT after the suspension? I don't think I would touch him until the 5th round, personally. At this point, missing 4 games. I know the talent's there, but it's just a crappy situation. And, like, you know, the ankle, like, the hatred between the owner and, like, I don't know. It may be in the 5th round for me, but I might just be all out on JT. Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'd say 5th or 6th. So basically, if I don't have to depend on him for anything, if I've got my running backs, my first 2 running backs, my starters set, and I've got a couple receivers that I like, and there's no tight end or quarterback in the range that I want there, I'll take him and stash him for the 4 weeks on the IR. So you can put him on the IR spot at least.
Sinker?
Yeah, I mean, I like that take too about putting him on the IR, but it's got to be like in that 5th, 6th range. You know, he's guaranteed to miss 3 games, and then you don't know what's going to happen after that.
4.
Like, are they
4, right?
4?
Yeah,
4.
4.
So 4, like, and then what are the Colts going to do with him, right? Like that situation is not
so awkward.
It's so awkward. So it's just like for me, like, yeah, you could get that guy late, right? But like, wouldn't you rather throw a dart on someone else in the 5th or 6th that's like, you know,
Christian
has higher
Watson?
I mean, talk about the wide receivers in that range. It's like I would much rather take a wide receiver with a higher upside than have to deal with this JT stuff. Like, yeah, I think honestly, like he's probably off my board. Like, let someone else take him. Let someone else have that headache. Let someone else deal with it. And then, you know, if he hits later on in the season,
them, right?
Yeah, right. Good for them, right? I'm glad for you calling it, but look at me with this wide receiver who hit as well. So.
Yeah, I want to take a player who's guaranteed to play week 1 personally, and I do like the IR take. Like if you have 2 running backs like locked and loaded, ready to go, and you want to stash Taylor and he could be your flex guy, damn, that could be so good for you if it works out. But that's a big if.
It'll be really interesting to see like how far is he going to fall. I can see him. It's going to be really sporadic, I think, draft to draft. But I bet I could see drafts where he falls 8th, 9th round because people are going to be hands off.
At that point, with the IR spot, I'm in. 8th, 9th round. Yeah, 8th, 9th round, I'm in. It's Jonathan Taylor.
I say I'm completely out, but it's like once someone keeps falling, it's like there's a certain price where it's like, okay, like
everybody has a price. Tommy Donuts. Sorry I'm late. Keep up the momentum. Hey man, no worry. Better late than never, man. Thanks for tuning in. Grenade jumper. What Eagles running back is worth drafting? Talk about, you know, weird situations.
I love that question too, because there's a lot to kind of dig into there. I think Swift is the most talented running back on the team. I just don't know how much of a role he's really going to have. I mean, maybe get the pass work. At ADP at cost, my favorite running back for the Eagles to draft is Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's going to have, you know, touches already baked into the offense. And then I think if anything were to happen to Penny or Swift, I think Gainwell's a smash. So at ADP, my favorite Eagle that I'm tapping every time is Gainwell. But I think Swift is the most talented one on the roster.
That's everything you just said is what I agree with. If you watched this last year, you know I'm a Swift guy. Killed me, but the talent's still there. Gainwell's pretty much free. I love him at ADP as well. I'm trying to avoid this backfield, but as we just said, everybody has a price. If the price is right on the draft, and you see Swift fall a few rounds, or Gainwell's chilling, and you're last round, it's definitely worth a pick. This is one of the best offenses in football, so I'm with you, Sinker. I think Swift's the best, and that's why he's the most expensive. But at ADP, it's Gainwell for me. Aaron, how do you feel about the Philly backfield?
It's a mess.
No other way to put it.
Yeah, he is. All right, looking at the ADP I'm looking at, I really don't mind waiting and taking that shot on Penny. Just because I agree Swift is the most talented, and this is maybe, forecasting too much, but I just don't know how well he fits into this offense with Jalen Hurts, as the pass catching specialist. So, maybe Penny, he's just been so good when he's healthy. Now he's playing behind a good offensive line. We got all kinds of mixed stories from the preseason. Like, it's just such a mess.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, just take any of them.
Good, or don't take any at all.
So it's funny because Swift is the earliest, and Gainwell's the latest, and he's almost like the forgotten guy.
Yeah.
They didn't
Maybe
cut. Did they cut Boston Scott?
Did they?
No, probably
Oh,
not.
no, they did cut Trey Sermon.
I did see that.
I saw that.
They're keeping Boston Scott for the Giants when he scores 3 touchdowns. Of course.
It's just, and the Eagles, it's also like if one of these guys does hit, he's going to be so good in fantasy. So that's the thing. It's like that's why everyone is like trying to get a piece of it somehow.
But maybe the answer is just none, because if they all stay healthy, it's going to be, Jalen Hurts is going to lead the team in rushing touchdowns.
Such a headache.
Exactly.
I just realized I skipped my take on the best rookie running back. It's Zach Charbonnet for me. After Bijan and Gibbs, he just does all the thing that Walker doesn't do, which is not a knock on Walker because I like him too. But the Seahawks use an early round pick on him. He's a hard runner. He's a way better receiver than Walker. And Seattle's a good offense, and they're going to run, and they're going to run often. As good as Geno was, as good as the receivers there, I just see him. They're just such a run-heavy team to me. And I want a piece of that pie. If anything happens to Kenneth Walker, you're looking at a later league-winning steal, in my opinion, with Charbonnet. Plus, his name's like wine, and I like wine. So hopefully this take ages like some fine wine. Sinker, did I skip you on your running back, or you said someone?
I memean, I love Tank Bigsby. I think he has a role already. We talked about him, already. I think, outside of that, I like the Charbonnet pick. I think he is going to have a role as well. Other than that, it's just really like who's going to be the best handcuff. I think Tajay Spears won. Derrick Henry, has a lot of touches under his belt, man. If anything were to happen to him, like he's going into a run-first offense. Yeah, and then I think that's kind of where I'm at. We covered everyone else. I love the A-Chain, the pick from you, Aaron. I think, the biggest news today was JT not going to the Dolphins, right? So anyone who has exposure to the Dolphins, and A-Chain's one of those, they're going to start going back up on boards. So I do like that A-Chain pick a lot. Someone's got to get the ball there.
For sure. Got a few more questions. We'll start wrapping things up. Time flies when it's draft season. You're having fun, man. This has been a great show, guys. Who would you rather reach for, Breece or Kamara at their ADP? I love Breece Hall. Everyone's fading Breece Hall. I'm still on the train. I think he's one of the best backs in the league. I understand the injury. I understand Cook's in. They might want to ease Breece Hall in, but those weeks when you're playing in the playoffs, if you make the playoffs, those aren't the weeks they're going to be easing Breece Hall. That's when Breece will be unleashed. So for me, I know Breece, he's playing. Kamara's missing 3 games. I want the guy on the field week 1, even if he does have a slower start. I'm Breece Hall over Kamara. Sinker?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the keyword is reach here, right? So, I think both these guys have great ADP if you kind of just let it settle. So if you're moving up maybe a couple picks because you think it's, he's not going to get back to you on a turn or something like that, I'm cool with that. But just kind of let these guys fall and let them get back to you because they can be great value. But for me, it's
I wouldn't reach.
Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't reach.
I think it's Breece though, honestly. We'll see. Dalvin is probably, Aaron Rodgers' guy, and Aaron Rodgers wants his guy. I think you can speak on that, Aaron, from watching him. But I don't know. It's probably Breece, man. What we saw last year before the injury, he looks fantastic. So it's really just like, how is he going to come back from the injury? How much is he going to get? It's probably Breece for me.
I'm still in on Breece. I know people are out, but that's my guy. I'm taking him in the 4th round all day if I have the opportunity to do so. Aaron, who do you like? Any of these guys? You staying away?
Oh, it's unanimous. It's Brees. I know
There it is.
there's the whole narrative of Rodgers wanting to bring Dalvin Cook in, and there's probably something to that. He wants to bring as many studs in as he can, but I don't remember the exact quotes. He said some real nice things about Brees Hall too, and it sounds like, I mean, if you're drafting him, I don't think he's going to give you zeros, but I think he's going to just gain momentum as the year goes on. So I mean, we saw how good he was last year. I think you just have to, if you do that, temper your expectations for the first 4 or 5 weeks. But Kamara, you're not getting for the first 4 or 5 weeks, and he's been declining in efficiency for about 2 or 3 years now, anyway. So yeah, it's Brees Hall.
Across the board. Speaking of Dalvin Cook or James Cook? I'm a Dalvin Cook guy. Loved him his whole career, but it's James Cook for me this year. Like on the Bills, should see a lot of that passing work. I'm taking it's James Cook, and it's not too close for me this year. Sinker?
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with you on James Cook. I don't, there's some stats out there about, veteran running backs leaving their team and going to another team. I think the only two who ever like actually did something was Adrian Peterson, I think Leonard Fournette, and then there might be DeMarco Murray. That's true with the Titans, right? But it's the numbers are not in his favor, right? And I'm not saying like you need to like go by that, but and then also we just talked about Brees Hall and Brees Hall's ability. So it's got to be James Cook out of these two. I am a little worried about James Cook, though. I don't know if he's going to get the goal line work. Josh Allen also likes to run it at the goal line. So we'll see. I mean, if it's a full PPR league, absolutely, James Cook is an easy
Those receptions should be there in full PPR. Aaron, who do you prefer?
Yeah,
Cook brothers, by the way. Cook brothers.
Oh, did you guys know this too? Their middle names. Have you heard this?
No, is it?
I had it. I didn't believe it. I had to look it up. Their names are Delvin James Cook and James Delvin Cook.
Wow,
that's crazy. And they play each other week one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really want either of them. But if I got to pick one, it's going to be James Cook, just because that upside in that offense. Maybe he catches some more passes. I'm not with Josh Allen there. I don't think there's a lot of dump offs. I don't think he gets a lot of goal line work, but he's a younger running back in a better offense, theoretically. So I'd go James.
Yeah.
Another unanimous one. Do one more. We'll start wrapping up. From a Steelers fan, this one's huge. This one I see discussed a lot. Would you rather take Pickens or Deontay Johnson? And damn, does anyone know? That's one of the hardest questions probably ever asked on this show. I think I'm taking George Pickens. I think he's a dog. I know Deontay can ball, and he's definitely going to score a touchdown this year. Last year was insanely wacky for him. But I think they're both great picks. I'm in on Kenny Pickett. I think the Steelers are going to make a jump. I think whichever one you could get cheaper might be the best answer. I think whatever one you could get at a better value. But on paper, if I had to pick one who I think would have the better year, I see George Pickens making a second-year jump. That dude can play. But it's close. It's definitely close. Sinker?
I love Deontay Johnson, man. I can't go away from Deontay. Yeah, you mentioned it. There's going to be positive TD regression this year. That's almost guaranteed, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to go away from Johnson, and Pickens is just going to, demand a huge target share this year. Would I be shocked if that happened? No, but I'm in on Deontay. I think the volume is still going to be there for him.
You watched that preseason game the other day. It was just like Kenny Pickett, bomb to Deontay Johnson. Oh, then there's George Pickens making a crazy catch at the one. So got you pretty excited for the Steelers. I do think they're gonna make a nice jump.
Yeah, I love Deontay Johnson this year at his ADP. I do think he's great value.
Definitely discounted for a talented player. Aaron, who do you prefer out of these two?
I'm so in on Deontay Johnson. Like, I think he's going to have just the biggest bounce back. I'm looking at my rankings here on compared to the consensus, and I've got him 11 spots ahead of the consensus. So I'm getting him in a lot of drafts. I think, even if it's just 6-7 touchdowns, he's going to get 130, 140, 150 targets if they pass a little bit more. I think Pickens is going to be your guy that might win you a week in DFS. He might win you a fantasy championship in week 16 if he goes off. I think he might disappear from week to week too. And Deontay is just going to be that constant 9-10 targets a game.
Yeah, maybe I have shiny new toy syndrome, and I just love these crazy circus catches Pickens makes.
Yeah.
And I think they're actually both going to be really solid, but I can't argue Deontay Johnson. I'm changing my answer. I said it before. Like, whoever's the better value, I'm not taking Deontay Johnson, but I'm just whoever the better value is the one.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they're going. Their ADP is
about around later. Yeah,
they're like back to back. I'm pretty sure,
much,
but
yeah.
maybe one slips and you get lucky. As every draft is different. All right, this one came in last second. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna wrap it up. Up by half a point on Monday night with your defense left. Sit them for the lock or risk it for the biscuit. I'm playing the defense. I'd rather have a collapse by my defense and lose by a stat correction. That's just me. You guys?
I'm sitting them. I'm sitting them.
I'm sitting them, and I'm going to just lay back and enjoy the Monday night game.
Yeah,
I need my points for seeding. You know what I'm saying? I need that 6-7 points for my defense. If they choke and they go negative, I will never play them again. I don't care what defense it is. I'm cutting them, and I'm probably gonna cry myself to sleep that night.
Just an adrenaline junkie.
I love to live life on the edge, but with that being said, that was an all I've had on. Not like you need to, because you're pretty huge in this industry, but if you want to take a minute or two to let the people know what you're about and where they can find you.
Yeah, pretty much everything now is I'm just consolidated at the Fantasy Footballers. In season, my weekly piece, I look at targets week to week. I do a weekly target report. Tons of off-season stuff we've been doing. If you want to go back and look, myself and the whole writing staff have been doing a bunch of different article series and just a lot of valuable stuff. So yeah, go check that out. And then I do have my rankings are on the Fantasy Pros consensus, so I am in that part. But otherwise, all with the ballers.
Awesome stuff, Aaron. Hope to have you on next year, man. This is always a show I look forward to, and great discussions as always, man.
Yeah, I think I'm on one more time sometime this year.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, we do have you on, Choice?
I think I'm on one more time. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Good work. Thank you.
We'll have to run this episode back and listen to some of these hot takes and see where we're at.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Once George Pickens goes crazy, you know.
Yeah. I love coming on. This is a good fun show. I like the interaction with the fans and the audience stuff too. It's cool.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who called in, Jonathan, or just typing in. We really appreciate it. And it's the biggest draft weekend of the year coming up. So I know some of you will be drafting like a day or two before the Thursday night game. We'll be here Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it might be a Wednesday show next week. I'll have to double check, but we'll be back next week if you have a later draft. But for those of you drafting this weekend, go crush that. Go crush that shit. Let's go win some championships. For Aaron Larson, for my boy Sinker, I am Sanchi Value. We're Fantasy Fanline. Until next time, peace.